Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to harmonicaUK. If this is your first time joining us, um, you've chosen a great one to join today because we have harmonica maestro Jim Hughes about to speak to us, which is absolutely unbelievable. If I can be a little bit self-indulgent, I must tell you, when I was only about 10, I got interested in the chromatic harmonica, and at the time, I used to look up to the idols of Larry Adler, Toots Sillermans, Tommy Riley, Doug Tate, and of course Jim. And Jim is sadly the last of that era, an absolute fantastic, world class player. So we're very grateful Jim spending the afternoon with us. And also our patron Adam Glasser. I mean, Adam Glasser is a fine musician, jazz pianist, and a jazz harmonica player, with two critically acclaimed albums of his own as well. So I'd like to, if we could spotlight Jim and Adam now, and I hope you enjoyed today. If you've got any questions, put them in the chat, and I shall make sure that Adam and Jim hear the questions. Enjoy the afternoon, everyone, and break a leg, fellas. Over to
Thank
you,
you.
Adam and Jim.
Right. Well, um, before we start, I'd like to just say this is Jim and I have been chatting for some time and had a huge sweep through all of his repertoire and his life, and I'm going to try and give you a little snippet of that, and we'll hear from Jim. We've also got some very respected collaborators of Jim who will speak with. But to begin with, in fact, I'll wait till a few more people have joined. But I think to begin with, Jim, let me just ask you to say hello to various people that you've worked with here. And I'm just going by alphabetical order. This is not in order of importance. But the first name I see here is John Smith, who is
Yeah.
the arranger who arranged all the music on your album A Taste of Summer Wine. So, John, if you could possibly unmute yourself and just say hello, and when we come to play some extracts, it will be great to talk to you about them then. Um, if you
Okay.
can, if
Yeah,
you can do
Hello,
that.
I'm
John.
unmuted. Hello, am I on the air?
Hi,
Yes,
John.
I
Hello.
can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, well, if you want to hear that story, uh, we were making a recording for a young lady, and I'd written some stuff, and we sort of more or less recorded it. And Jim said, "I'd like to play a solo in the middle of this." So I said, "Okay, go ahead." He said, "Well, no, I can't make it up. You'll have to write it down." So I sharpened my pencil, and I wrote some ridiculously difficult stuff for him to play. And he looked at it and he said, "Okay, put the light on." He played it first time perfectly. And I was amazed. And I suddenly realized what a fantastic musician he was. Oh, and is.
Thanks, John. That's nice.
Do you remember
Fantastic.
that, Jim?
I do. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, it's before the war.
That's fantastic. Well, John, thanks for that. We've got all the tracks from your album there lined up, and we'll be playing some excerpts from them. I also noticed in the chat we have John Hartley, who I believe is a musician that you've worked with, Jim. Perhaps you
No,
could introduce John.
no, John Hartley is my relative. He's a great nephew, and he's helping me with mastering some recordings and cleaning them up. And we're getting an album together of odd bits and pieces that I've done.
Great. That's great.
Hello.
Also, very important here. Hi, John. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Also, very important here is Richard Wright, who
Oh yeah,
all the music on your album Pari Passu, which we'll be listening to some excerpts from.
good. Yeah, Richard is a very important person in my life. He's been a great, generous supporter and believed in me. In as much as he took the time to make this fantastic record, playing Beethoven, Stravinsky, Schubert, and it's just incredible. And we've been friends for many years now. We met on a session way back in Mallorca. We were doing something for a film, and we spent a week together. And since then, we've had a really good association.
Great.
We have. Can I just say, Jim, that all the things that I've done in music, you remain one of the most interesting or inspirational collaborators. I mean, that week in Mallorca, we've been looking for a harmonica player, this composer friend and I, for a score we'd written for a children's drama series, basically, for German television. And we'd used Tommy Riley once before, and he wasn't available or around. And we asked around some fixers we knew, and someone said, "Oh, I know someone. There's an amazing guy in Birmingham called Jim Hughes." We said, "Fine, we'll take your word for it." And I was delegated to go and pick Jim up at Palmer Airport. So we met at the arrivals terminal at Palmer Airport, and we drove to this village where the studio was. And we had a wonderful time. And I'd never come across harmonica before. And we would sit by the fire in the evening after we finished doing what we were doing. And Jim would say, "Do you know this one? Bach Badinnery." And I went, "Oh, yeah, everyone knows that." So I would kind of play along, try and, catch the chords. And "Do you know this one? Mozart Turkish Rondo." I said, "Yeah, I know that." Because he knew all these fantastic classical hits, let's call them. And it occurred to me what a wonderful combination the harmonica and the guitar would be. They're both kind of a little bit fringe, a little bit minority. They both have these fantastically passionate followers, harmonica societies, guitar societies around the world. And so I thought this was a very, very kind of natural collaboration of instruments. And we got on like a house on fire, and we talked about what we could do, and I started to arrange some stuff, and then we made that album a couple of years later. And Jim, it's just so wonderful to see you today, Jim, and to see all these people from all over the world. I don't believe it. All your friends and fans like.
Now you've cut out here.
You've accidentally muted, I think, or somebody's muted you.
Mouse. That's me hitting my mouse by mistake with my elbow.
Oh, that's okay. Great.
I'm still here.
Great. Good.
And Jim, for your benefit, we're up to 72 people tuning in now, and we have viewers from America, Canada, all the way to Hong Kong.
Good God.
So how about that?
It's amazing.
So, folks, I'll just tell you, as the presenter, so to speak, the game plan is that I'm going to now play you a video which is taken from the album A Taste of Summer Wine. And that is the album which John Smith, who's on our meeting, did all the music, arranged all the music for. And in particular, what I've done is taken the track from the album and put it across some images. And I've done that with quite a few bits of video, which enable us to hear Jim's playing in its true context, as opposed to the edit that went on the actual TV program, which, of course, we always want to hear more of the harmonica. So here's just for those of you who don't know Jim that well, here's one of the things that made him, which made his reputation, among many other things. Great. So, well done, Jim. Beautiful to hear a piece of that. We'll hear more from that album later. But to begin with, I have been sent a whole lot of wonderful photos by Suzanne Hughes, your daughter-in-law, I believe. And
Yes.
what I'd like to do is just show a few of them to people, and then ask you to, because there's some very interesting bits of information in them which I've found very kind of entertaining, which I think are worth sharing. If I can just find the early
Don't
photo.
forget, I won't be able to see them, so
Yeah.
I won't know what
The
you're
visual
showing.
side of this is not important. It's more to remind me of what there is, what questions to ask you, and that'll be the main focus of what we're doing. Is really me just asking you about so many interesting aspects of your life as a musician. So, just to begin with, we're looking at an article in the Radio Times which says A Tale of Two Musicians. And it says in this article, a thing that popped out at me is that you didn't pick up any kind of instrument till you were 21.
Yeah, I was actually 18. I started 19. Yeah, so it's pretty much that. That was when I joined the army, and I went to Germany and served with the Royal Engineers for 6 years, and that's when I bought my first harmonica, which thank goodness was a chromatic, and it was the old Hohner 270, and I played by ear for all that time, knowing absolutely nothing about music. And so I was very limited in what I could do. But when I left the army and came back, I realized that I got everything to learn. And the thing that started it all, I'd been back home about a couple of weeks, wandering around Birmingham city centre, came to a music shop, and there in the window was a display of a harmonica magazine, the Harmonica World, or Harmonica News, which was a society then run by Hohner. And it advertised a British Championships, which is going to be held a month hence. So I went in for that. There's a test piece I had to get to grips with. And I came second. And I met all these wonderful harmonica players. At that time, I might say the enthusiasm in England was tremendous. There was a whole crowd of really good chromatic players. Doug Tate was there. Brian Chaplin was another one. Wally Kennywell, I don't know if these names mean anything now. Johnny Pluck, he was the one who won it. But the enthusiasm was tremendous. And I just loved it. And that's when I thought, right, I'm in with this for life. And I got together with some players, and we formed bands and just started to enjoy life, you know.
Fantastic, Jim. So we were chatting, and there's a piece of music which you recorded early on, which represents what you. If I can just find that piece of music with Doina.
Oh, Doina Voda.
Yeah. That's got a really that's got a great introduction in a typical BBC voice.
Yeah, we won
so
the
that
championships. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Have a listen to this, folks. This is amazing.
And next on our list,
Sorry, just stop me, anybody, if you can't hear it at any time. If you can't hear it, but I'll just start again. Here we go.
and next on our list comes the 1962 All Britain Harmonica Solo Champion, who is James Hughes of Solihull. He won this in 17 entries, and he's going to play Romanian gypsy dance Doina Voda by Marit Moritzi.
Right. So that's pretty
You've got
amazing.
memories.
That's pretty amazing, Jim. Yes. So
I
look,
played a lot better now.
well, I'm just keeping an eye on the time because we've got quite a bit of music to get
Yeah.
through, and looking at the music that we agreed to that we were going to look through. I'll just find.
Jim, there's a question in the chat from a relative of Colin Kirby. Do you remember Colin?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
He was one of my early pupils, and then he was part of my group. And then he entered the championships and beat me and into first place. He had first, I had second, and there was a big news item about pupil beats master, you know. And he became a policeman, and eventually he went to Australia, where I believe he's still there, you know. Good player.
Okay. Thanks, Jim.
Great. So the next sort of chapter, which we covered, which we've got musical material for, Jim, is your concert in Stratford in
Yeah.
1983, with which included Richard, who's with us, and also
Yes.
included Ivan Richards, who
Yes.
I was hoping would join us. Ivan Richards was the world champion harmonica player and a student of yours. Now, I'm
Yes.
not sure, just looking through the chat, if Ivan is here yet, but perhaps we can speak to him later. But in the
Okay.
meantime, would you talk a bit about that concert and we can play an excerpt of it? In particular, there's a solo piece which you played, which was written for Tommy Riley, which,
Oh yes, that was the serenade for unaccompanied harmonica, which Tommy wrote for a test piece for one of the world championships, which I entered, and I think I came about sixth from the bottom, as I recall. I was never good at the world championships, but I've played it a few times since, and I really love it. It sounds like two harmonicas, and sometimes it sounds like three harmonicas playing together. But yeah, I'm glad you've got that. I'd like to hear it again, actually.
great. Well, what I'll do is let's just have a listen to that. It sounds like this. And if I can, yeah, just have a listen to this.
Before we play the next song, I'm going to do just one number on my own, just to give Richard a chance to adjust his safety belt on the last one. And believe it or not, this is the very first time we've ever played together in public. The very first time. This is a thing that was written by Tommy Riley. Again, I'm sure you've all had a go at this. Should have. It's a serenade for unaccompanied harmonica.
Yeah, nice piece.
Pretty incredible. Jim, can you talk a bit about how to play that style? I mean, it's just incredible.
Well, I play with my tongue on the instruments. There are various ways that people play. Some use a pucker method where they use just the front of their mouth. I use the tonguing method where my tongue is resting on the instrument and I play to the right of my tongue. And when I play stuff like that, I play also to the left of my tongue at the same time. So we've got the two tunes going together. So my tongue is resting on the mouthpiece all the time and just blocking out the notes that I don't want. It sounds easy, but it takes a bit of work. It takes time.
I'm sure. Jim, again, there's many more tracks which we could get, and the image which I shared while you were playing there is from our Harmonica UK archivist's website, Roger Trowbridge. Roger has a huge amount of information about Jim and the history of the chromatic and blues harmonica, and his website is really worth a visit. It's got some fantastic stuff on it. I'm also indebted to Roger for the for making an MP3 of Doina Veda. I still got
Voda.
yeah, which we managed to get from Roger just this week. He transferred a BBC recording from a tape that Jim did. Another shout out I want to mention, which is Neil Warren. Neil Warren's he's not with us, but he's a very active Harmonica UK member, very good harmonica player. But thanks to Jim, I discovered that Neil Warren has the most incredible set of podcasts. And if you want the definitive story about Jim, very well edited in the form of a podcast, check out Neil Warren's Buzzsprout interview with Jim, which is massively interesting, very and expertly edited. It's an hour of very compact information. So let's move on now to Pari Passu, the album which Jim made, and which we have Richard Wright here. And before we do anything else, I have got a little surprise. I'd like us to watch. I say watch. What I have here is I've put the music to the score, which will interest those of you who like to read. But let's just have a listen to Caprice from this album, and then we'll talk a bit about it. That's fantastic, fantastic. So I've got two more little pieces. The next is a cradle song, and the third is Russian dance. So Jim, would you like to say something? Richard, would you like to say something, or shall I play those excerpts now? I'd love everyone to hear them.
These are all, I should tell you first that these are all from a suite written by Gordon Jacob for harmonica and piano. And Richard has rearranged it for guitar, viola, and I think we had a cello in on that one, as I remember. But I'd really like you to play part of a Stravinsky thing, which is on there, which you call 5 easy pieces. Would this upset your playing schedule?
Not at all, Jim. Let's have a listen to that.
Just the first one is good because there's a beautiful combination of viola and harmonica, which I think is quite beautiful, the sound.
Yeah. I'm just looking. Okay, yes, here it is. That's terrific. That's really exquisite. Wow.
Yeah, nice combination.
Yes. Can I play one more, which I've kind of prepared, and then perhaps we'll hear from Richard again. This is something which I think is amazing. This is Russian dance, which is by Gordon Jacob, of those 5 pieces that you his 5 pieces. So.
scary.
nuts. That's nuts. Shall we ask Richard to have please, Richard, if you could come in and comment about that. It's just an amazing piece of arranging and playing.
Well, yeah, I have fond memories of that. I haven't listened to that one for quite a while. I mean, the idea started, we wanted to do something together, as I'd said, and then looking at expanding what was possible and thinking of making it a chamber thing with a violin or a viola or something. And then as I looked at stuff to arrange, the viola seemed to work best with the harmonica, and that Stravinsky thing we heard just now with the viola and harmonica often playing in octaves, the viola in unison with the harmonica but an octave lower. I mean, it's a wonderful combination. And we found all kinds of different ways you can move the instruments around. Like there's places where the viola playing low down when the guitar is playing some dialogue with the harmonica, particularly in the Beethoven piece. You hear the viola sort of being the bass line and the guitar being in the middle, and sometimes the guitar's at the bottom and the viola's up there with Jim. I mean, the combination was very versatile. Then to make a nice full-on CD, we weren't quite sure what else to do. And so Jim suggested the Gordon Jacob suite, and that didn't work just with the three of us. So I thought we should add a cello to do justice to the original accompaniment. And we were able to enlist Robert Irving, the cellist, who was the husband of Sally Beamish, the viola player. So it was quite a convenient and easy thing to do. And it kind of rounds off the CD nicely because it's something quite different to the other tracks. And very limited budget, very short time to do it. Of course, Jim, not a problem to Jim, you know, he's a sort of one-take wonder. And it was all absolutely great. Actually, something John Smith said at the beginning reminds me of something like Jim and I were doing a session for Richard Harvey, the well-known commercial composer, in his studio in Chelsea. And I can't remember whether it was for one of his library albums or whether it was for a radio or a film thing. I don't know what it was, but there was me and Jim and some string players. Do you remember this, Jim?
Yeah, vaguely, yeah.
Okay, well, what happened was this lovely bit with it's a harmonica solo, harmonica melody, and it went right up, it ended on this top A. Tell me if that's wrong. Is the A somewhere near the top end of one of your highest notes, isn't it, Jim?
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah, very high note. And he played this absolutely fantastic, beautiful take, and got to top A. It all ended on this top A. And I thought it sounded great. And Jim said, afterwards, no, I don't like that top A. He said, no, I'm sorry. He said, can we do that again? And we all looked, the rest of us looked a bit aghast. You know, Jim, come on, it's fantastic. I mean, no one's going to worry about that. To the layman, even to the rest of the people in the studio, there's nothing wrong with that top A. So anyway, we indulged him, let him have another go. Because of course, the problem is you might be thinking about the top A, and other things in the take would go wrong that were right the first time. Other little blemishes. So you go on forever chasing your tail. So we let him do it. All the rest of the take was absolutely perfect, identical to the first take, and the top A was even better. He did the whole thing again perfectly, and did this divine top A I mean, it's incredible. I don't know very few people who could do that on any instrument, who are that accurate and that consistent. That's playing with lots and lots and lots of studio musicians, you know, in my career. He's completely astonishing, this guy. He's quite remarkable.
Thank you, Richard. That's a great anecdote, and just reminds me, in a world of Pro Tools and audio editing, that you didn't need any.
No, you don't need that. You just need Jim on the job.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Richard. Complimentary, that.
Oh.
I really, to be honest, can't remember it.
I can.
I'd love. Could I hear some of the Beethoven you did?
Yes, sure.
Perhaps just the first bit. This was from. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it from a wind septet? Was it for Beethoven?
It's a sextet. I think it's two clarinets, two horns, and two bassoons. Very early piece.
Yeah, and it's remarkable. He dwindled it down to just harmonica, guitar, and viola. But it's so effective, and of course, a privilege to play Beethoven is the greatest. So if we could hear a bit of the
Fantastic.
beginning of
This is the first track on the album.
yeah.
Is that a good place to stop?
Yeah,
Yes,
perfect.
excellent.
I thought that was
Excellent.
beautiful, actually. Wow, wow. Jim, you know, you haven't been on Zoom a lot, but there are 79 people here listening, and the
Wow.
crazy thing about Zoom is that it sounds like it's just two or three people in the room. So um, there'll be a lot of comments and appreciation which should come back to you from this. But I'm just looking at the clock, and we have as well John Smith, and I'd very much like to move on to a taste of summer wine. Also noticing, Jim, that there's some players. Draw Adler is here. Brian Chaplin is here. Maybe we could have a quick say hello to them.
Yeah. Hello, guys. Great of you to come.
Yeah, and perhaps, in fact, let's go straight now to we'll there'll be time afterwards to talk and ask some questions, but let's go straight to a taste of summer wine. Does that make sense at this point? And I've got some photos of the cover which I will show while we're listening to a fantastic version of My Funny Valentine, which you played
Oh, yeah.
which you played solo. So let's have a listen to that. 1 second. So just coming up. So we'll have this here. So this is the album Taste from a Taste of Summer Wine.
It's a great tune.
Fantastic.
Adam, do you mind if I ask Jim a quick question?
Go ahead.
At the beginning, I said that you stood shoulder to shoulder of the greatest players that ever lived: Larry, Tommy, Toots, Doug Tate. But for me, where you stand out even from that crowd is your sound. You have a warmth and a soul that I don't think anyone else has got. It belongs to you. Do you have any idea how you get that sound? Because it's so beautiful.
Yeah, I get this comment quite often, and it's something that's developed over 60 years. You have to realize that the way I play, the sound is, my mouth is like a sound chamber. And if you think of all the vowels when you speak, A, E, I, O, U, if you form your mouth to say any of those, you'll get a change in the shape of the notes you play. And gradually, I developed a position that produced this sound. It didn't come straight away. It took a long time. And I also attack the note from the back of the throat. And I have a sort of a gentle throat vibrato I use, which helps that along. But the funny thing is, when you start to lose teeth, this is funny, but the sound changes. The sound chamber is different now than it was back, 20, 30 years. And as you lose teeth and it alters, this is really true. It's quite unbelievable. It might be worth, would you be able to play, have you got time to play the Gershwin Prelude from that concert album from Stratford-on-Avon?
Yes, sure, Jim.
If you could bring that out. You see,
Yes.
I think I'll have a different tone there, maybe a fuller tone. But it's just a question of time, Pete. Time and practice and hard work, and gradually you assume a constant embouchure which produces that sound. My biggest influence is the violin. I love the violin. I think it's the most expressive instrument. And if there's anything to be gained from what I'm saying to you, listen to all instruments and listen to the emotional content, and then try and copy it. Don't listen to harmonica players. Listen to violinists.
Thank you. Great answer. And I think you've got a sound of your own. As I said, I don't think I've ever heard anybody sound like you. It's quite remarkable.
And may I add something?
Yes.
This is Draw, Jim.
Hello, Draw.
Oh, hello,
Hi.
Draw. Welcome.
I had the privilege to attend your 90th birthday, and you played Funny Valentine there. And I must tell you, it was as beautiful as what we heard now. And there was no lack of teeth feeling there. It was so beautiful, Jim. It was, listening to it now, it moved me back to this birthday, and I almost started to cry. Beautiful.
Oh, Draw.
Amazing.
Thank you very much. Nice compliment.
Great, and thanks for your contribution, Draw. We'll have time to chat further, but there is one album which I would like us still to pay some more attention to, which is A Taste of Summer Wine. And perhaps John Smith, who arranged all the music on that, could come back on and perhaps
Yep.
choose a track that you'd like to hear, John, that you feel represents what you and Jim achieved together. I've got them all here. Just need to unmute.
How's that?
Great, great. We can hear you.
Sorry. Yes, I haven't got the CD with me, and I can't remember what was on it.
Could we do? Sorry.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Could we do? Say.
You wanted to hear the Gershwin first, Jim?
Yeah. No, let's. While you've got that track on, let's hear what accompanied the singer on that record, and we do maybe Days of Wine and Roses.
Okay.
Could we do that?
Yes, I remember that one.
Yep.
I remember
here
in A major. I remember.
Wow.
The days of wine and roses, laugh and run away like a child at play through the meadowlands toward a closing door, a door marked nevermore. It wasn't there before. The lonely night discloses just a passing breeze, filled with memories of the golden smile that introduced me to the days of wine and roses and you. Discloses just a passing breeze, filled with memory of the golden smile that introduced me to the days of wine and roses and you.
Yeah, I like playing behind a singer. It's quite nice, you know.
I found the CD, the track that immediately drew me in was "Sophisticated Lady."
Oh, right.
Right, shall we listen to that?
Is it possible, Adam?
Yeah, absolutely. Here it comes.
Nice one, Jim.
Fantastic, Jim, and lovely guitar playing, John.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That wasn't me playing.
amazing. Yeah.
I think that was Judd Proctor.
Yeah, Judd
Right.
Proctor playing guitar.
Yeah, Judd
Oh, I
Proctor.
see. Yeah. But John Smith with us arranging.
John arranged the whole thing.
Yeah. Great. We've got to 4 o'clock, and it's there's so much more we could do, Jim. But I don't think we can stop without mentioning your work with Paul Lewis and,
Oh,
and
yeah.
James Moody. And
Very important.
would you like me to play a bit of The Secret of Polly Flint?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Okay. So this will give you, if you want to say a bit first, Jim, about your session work with Paul, and
Yeah.
because you obviously people know you from The Last of the Summer Wine, but there were many other sessions that you did, like Woof and The Secret of Polly Flint, which tracks feature on the Paul Lewis album Serenade and Dance.
Yeah, I started working with Paul when it was on Woof. And previously he had Tommy Riley, but Tommy was beginning to get ill. He was deteriorating, and it was towards the end of his career as a session player. And I found myself being offered work that he had started, you know. But we got on very well together, and Paul was immediately inspired, which is the only word I can think of, to go and write a complete CD for me, you know, which featured harp, piano, string quartet on part of it, and of course harmonica. And he wrote some really beautiful stuff. He's a very romantic composer and quite a character in his own right. It's worth looking him up. He's written some beautiful stuff. And
Great. Well, I'm going to, Jim, I'm going to play an excerpt now, which is,
Yeah.
first I'll play a bit of Wolf, and then I'll play a bit of Polly Flint, and it's got some video with it and a bit of few words. They're quite long clips, and I won't play all of them.
There was once a boy who turned into a dog, something that doesn't happen every day. If it did, the world would soon be short of boys and overrun with dogs. The boy didn't want it to happen, but when it did, of course, he had to, well, you'll see for yourself.
So that's the first one. And then also, let's just have a quick listen to a bit of The Secret World of Polly Flint, which goes like this.
Once upon a time, and I mean last week, or last year, there was a girl called Polly Flint. And one day, something happened that was to change her whole life. It was the strangest thing. She had gone out on the hillside near her home, and being all alone, she began to twizzle.
Yeah,
Anyway,
nice music.
beautiful music. I'll put those clips up just to explain, in case there are any editors here, that I have recut those bits of film so that the music is taken off the soundtrack, which is downloaded from YouTube, and I've put on the original sound from the recordings that Jim did on A Taste of on Serenade and Dance on Paul Lewis. So that's a bit of kind of putting the musician forward at the expense of all the other production values. But I think it's already 10 past. Jim, unless there's anything burning that you would like us to listen to or say or talk about.
Yeah, I would like to have heard the prelude, the Gershwin prelude from the Stratford-on-Avon concert, if it's possible.
Great. Yes, I've got that right here.
And that's with Richard.
That with Richard, yeah. So this is a Gershwin piece, which was recorded in 1983 in Stratford with Richard Wright, who is with us.
I'd like to introduce you to a friend of mine who's come down from London. We met on a session. This is Richard Wright. He's a session guitar player. And we met, believe it or not, in Mallorca, where we were doing some film music, which Richard incidentally wrote. We got together and he's come up with some nice arrangements. All these are Richard's arrangements. I hope you'll like them, just for guitar and harmonica. We're going to start off with one of Gershwin's pieces. It's simply Prelude.
Fantastic. Great, Jim.
Nice.
That's really
Thanks.
beautiful. Thank you, Richard. I've just been looking at the chat and I see that Ivan Richards is here. It's just that
Oh, good.
different person, Lizzie, is here. And so if we could find Lizzie, and there's Ivan Richards, and perhaps you could say hello, Ivan, and we could listen
Oh.
to the track that you do with Jim.
Hello, Jim. Hello, Adam. Great to
Hi.
see you.
Hi,
Yeah.
hi, Ivan. Perhaps we could listen to the track from that same album of you two playing together.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, well,
That would be great.
Which one would you like to hear?
It's a
Well, there's a-
Mozart flute duet.
Okay, here it comes.
wait.
Yeah, so this is everybody. This is Ivan Richards, who's with us, and this is a recording of him and Jim doing a Mozart flute duo at a concert in Stratford in 1983.
An old friend of mine, in fact, it goes back many, many years when he was a little lad, and he came to me for lessons, and we had a nice association. He was a good pupil and got a good brain for the harmonica. He became the All England champion, then he went on to become the world champion, and it's my pleasure to bring on stage Ivan Richards. If he's there. There he is. I should explain that Ivan has just recently had a car crash, well, not a car crash, a car hit him into his hand. He won't play on his own, so he's presented me with some Mozart, which perhaps I might make a bigger mess of as I make the dark. So, which one are we now? Which one? Do you want this one? Maybe the best man win. This is a flute duo by Mozart.
Fantastic, Jim. Jim, I noticed that the Brian Chaplin is also here, who you used to play with.
Yeah, Brian, we met back in the 50s at this time when I was describing when I first entered the British Championships. And Brian was a very good player, along with several others, and part of a group of friends I've made, which is still around today. We're all old men now. Yeah,
Brian, perhaps you can unmute and tell us what Jim was like in those days.
Well, yeah, this program has brought back so many lifelong memories because, as Jim said, we've known each other for pretty well all our adult lives, and we've been in touch. And the Diner brought back some memories for me, because that was a test piece in the World Championships in the at Lago Maggiore, and and he came. I think he said he came 19th. Well, I came 119th. And so, but so obviously, and as been proved today, I taught him very well. So well done, Jim. It's great to see you again, because I haven't seen you for long. I was so sorry not to make your 1990th birthday, but I had flu at the time, unfortunately.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
great to make contact with you and everybody else again, and it's been a pleasure joining you all on this program.
Great, thank you, Brian. Again, the time is marching on, and I'd just like to ask Pete if he would like to perhaps, if there's any burning questions or anyone would like to say anything, but I feel we should maybe draw to a close. Or Jim, if you've got anything else that you'd like us to listen to or say, it's not a completely strict thing, but
well, what do you mean, music-wise, or have you finished?
Music-wise, I mean, I guess we've come to the end of the scheduled amount of music we were going to listen to, but perhaps there's something that we could still add. I don't want to just
I if you've got time to do Bart Goes to Town.
Oh,
this
yes.
is written by harpsichord, by Alec Templeton, way back. And again, Richard Wright has arranged this for guitar and harmonica, and it comes off very well. Prelude and Fugue.
Here it is. Okay. Bart Goes to Town.
We're going to do now an old number by Alec Templeton called Bart Goes to Town. Two pieces in it. First is a prelude, followed by the fugue.
Amazing, Jim.
Jim, there's something I need to tell you, and that is in 1983, that concert, I was there as a young teenager, sat in the front row. On one side was Jimmy English sat next to me. On the other side was Colin Mort with his reel-to-reel tape recorder, who recorded that. And so
Do you know?
Yes.
I never knew. It's only just come to light.
Yeah.
You know, and now I know who's done it. You know, brilliant. Because Roger said, "I've just received this tape," and I thought, well, that's a long lost tape. I mean, what is it? 37 years, and I didn't even know it had been recorded. So I'm very happy that we've got this.
Yeah.
39 years.
Yeah. If I could just give harmonicaUK a quick plug. If anyone here today isn't a member and like to join us, you can join us for as little as 5 pence a day. And we're a wonderful organisation. We're a registered charity in England and Wales, and you'll get to meet some fantastic players. And it'd be great if you can join us. You just type in harmonica.uk and you'll find us. So have a think about that. You spend 5 pence a day very wisely. Yeah, it's been an incredible afternoon, fellas. It really has. You know, Jim, your story is so rich. It deserves a series, not just one Zoom. There's so much in there, isn't there? And on all the work that Adam's done in researching it and getting this to such a slick performance, you know, it's been really quite remarkable. I'm so grateful.
Sorry, so I'm very impressed with all the work you've done on this. I mean, it's not. I didn't know what to expect. It's my very first time on Zoom, and I think I'd rather do a live broadcast. It's a little bit nerve-wracking, to be honest.
Yes. Well, Jim, I think you've been brilliant for a first Zoom timer, and it's been a lot of. I've learnt a huge amount about the harmonica just by talking with you. I should remind everyone that, or maybe you didn't know, that I had lessons with Jim, and he's the single most influential teacher. He turned my own chromatic playing around and introduced me to all kinds of music, and he's always got interesting and valuable things to say about every aspect of the harmonica. Just one thing, Jim, I noticed that the son of Colin Kirby is with us. He's a harmonica. It's C. Kirby. Are you Chris Kirby, or have you got a different name to your dad? But Colin Kirby was a world champion in the 1950s. So
he was a British champion.
British champion.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Maybe you'd just like to say hello to Jim.
Hi, Jim. Yeah.
Hello there.
I'm Colin's son, originally from Birmingham, Peter, his oldest son. We did move to Australia, but my mum and dad separated and I came back, so I've been here almost as long as you. I use CK in honour of my dad's name, so it's CK Kirby, because I'm started to play. Never knew I could play until 2013 when someone forced me into having a go. Whatever my dad was teaching me when I was little obviously stuck, because it's I can play mostly diatonic, but I've still got one of my dad's originals.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. You know, I didn't even know you existed. Yeah, I'm glad you're playing a harmonica anyway. It's great. Well, perhaps we'll meet up sometime.
Do you still live in the Midlands?
I still live at the same address. Yeah, 59 Bronte Farm Road, Shirley.
You're about
We've been here now for 62 years.
It's amazing. I had no idea. I live about 20 minutes away from you. I'd love to come over and have a chat.
We must get together.
I'd love to.
Talk about your dad.
Please.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll get some details and get you some message.
Jim, if people want to contact you, shall we put something in the chat? You know, what's your preferred method?
Well, telephone. You know,
okay.
I don't have a computer, but my daughter-in-law has her computer and phone, iPhone, and I don't think she would mind if people tried to contact me or leave messages for me.
Okay.
Through her. You know.
So Jim, I'm going to put your telephone number in the chat with your permission. Is that what you want?
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Great. Okay, it's going in right now.
And Jim, there've been many questions today in the chat, and I can download them and talk to you over the phone about them. But probably the most important one for me is somebody's asking, what would your tip be to a young player learning to play the harmonica?
Well, to have patience to start off. Don't go too quickly. You've got to realize that you're not just embarking on learning to play an instrument. You're learning about music, and that's the main thing. Learn as much about music theory as you can. Study your scales, arpeggios. The more you learn, the bigger the effects, or the more effect you'll have on your music. And realize that it takes years. This doesn't come overnight. I've been playing for, since the 50s. And, I'm learning to play. Now I've lost my sight. I'm learning to play by ear because I devoted all my time to reading music. And that was my profession as a session player, to go in and read music. But I was never a great ear player. But now I've got to. That's the only way that I can do it. So I'm learning. I'm becoming more intimate with the harmonica. You know, it's a whole different ball game. Yeah. And it's astounding me. It's in reverse, isn't it? People normally they'll start by ear and then develop. But I started in a very serious way and really studied, and I mean really studied, hours and hours every day, and practiced. And now I can only play by ear, but I'm learning I think I can relate the harmonica to the human voice. So what I was able to sing or whistle, I'm now trying to do immediately on the harmonica. So I treat it as a part of me,
Yeah. And do you still practice?
Well, now I do, yeah. I practice at scales every day. I practice about 2 to 3 hours a day. And I play along with whatever's on radio or records, or I play along with them, try to get into the key straight away and improvise. So I'm playing with the best, I've got all the best vocalists on the record and Alexa. And I can play along with Count Basie and people like this.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, my Alexa just put it on Count Basie. Sorry about that, because you mentioned Alexa. Sorry. Don't believe it. Alexa, be quiet. Oh, so how about that? There's probably Alexas around the world now playing Count Basie. Yeah. Oh.
Yes. No, I didn't say yes. I do practice.
Yeah.
And but when I lost my sight, I stopped for about a year. I didn't want to know, But now I've got so much time, I've got to fill it. And so it's practice, listening to music, listening to audio, books, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And I should say that I've just recently bought the best harmonica I've ever owned, and that's the Suzuki Chromatics. And it's such a beautiful instrument. I can't recommend it enough.
Yes.
Can I say, Jim, that Howard Johnson of Suzuki, who I invited, sends his best regards to you. And
thank you.
I told him that you were playing Suzuki's now. And
yeah.
Although I'm a fan of the CX-12, Philip, Sheila and I used Suzuki's on a session which we did recently with Phil Hopkins, who is here. I'd like to welcome Phil, a great fellow professional.
Who was also on the stage. It'd be nice, because I know Jim would like to meet Phil, wouldn't you?
Yes,
I
of
would.
course.
I mean, I've heard of him, but we never met.
You must chat. I should just put in the background that Phil and I have known each other for years, and I've done various depths for him at the National Theatre and the Globe, because he is a percussionist and also great chromatic player. But
Wow.
I think you're a fan of Honer's, aren't you, Phil?
I'm afraid I've gone over to Suzuki as well.
Howard Johnson's going to be delighted.
I'm another renegade, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Fantastic instrument.
Yeah, I think it's perfect. If I could have had that instrument when I started, I would have been a very happy man. It's just beautiful, and it's inspired me to play. You know, I get real joy out of handling it and blowing it. I couldn't wish for anything better, even better than the concerto harmonicas. You know, the silver ones. That's just great. Well done, Suzuki.
Might I ask which model or models of Suzuki you favor?
I've only got the one, the 12-hole chromatics, and I think it cost me about 180 or something. Yeah, chromatics 12-hole. I don't know if it's got any other name.
Well, this is good news. Adam, we need to do a part 2 now because we need to hear.
We do. I was thinking exactly that, Pete.
There's too much to cover still, isn't there?
Yeah, we're going to have another one. Jim is doing a gig here with us.
Yes. And Jim's coming to our Chromatic Festival in June as well, so that's going to be a real treat to have you there, Jim.
Yes, I'm coming to that.
Yeah, that'd be absolutely wonderful.
Doing a workshop.
Yeah. Okay.
Adam, I'm still around.
Oh, don't say that. Adam, I'm conscious we've gone over time for you.
Yes, we should. I think we should wrap things up now.
Okay.
All right. Jim, I'm so grateful for you sharing your time with us today, telling your story, because it's a remarkable story, and you're a remarkable person in so many ways, and a remarkable musician. So it's been a real pleasure for all of us.
Well,
so thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure for me too.
Good.
And thanks to everyone for attending. You know, it's a little flattering.
Yeah. Well,
we've had over 80 people here today, Jim.
Good God.
We've had people from Australia as well, I saw.
And Hong Kong.
And Hong Kong and America.
And America.
Yes, so.
And Israel, of course.
And Israel, with Draw. How lovely to see Draw again. How wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Amazing.
Adam, thank you for making this happen, because it's your determination and your vision that's made today possible. So thank you for all your time. It's really, we're so grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Adam. Wonderful job.
It's a great pleasure. And also just to mention that we've had 2 people from India, Sayan Mukhopadhyay. I pronounce with my best Kerala accent. But,
lovely. Oh, that's wonderful news. Yeah.
Yeah. So to anybody who's here, join Harmonica UK. This is where the central hub in the UK is, where we bring everyone together. And I see that Roni Aiton has just joined us from Israel.
Roni.
Fantastic, fantastic Israeli harmonica player. So, gosh.
Yeah.
Somebody's opened.
We'll have to do this again if we can, Adam.
We will.
Future dates. And
we will,
now
Jim.
that I've done one, you know, I would be more prepared.
Sure. And let's think about what we've left out and what else, because this is by no means all of your story or all of your music.
No.
And Jim, Philip Jers is in the audience as well. He's a most incredible player. So it's lovely.
I think we have met at some time. I think.
Yeah.
Way back, perhaps in Germany.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's probably a bit late to bring Philip on there, but it's lovely he's here. I mean, it seems like somebody's opened a tin of top harmonica players and spilled them all over the place today, haven't they?
That's a lovely image.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Shall we shall we say cheerio to everyone and thanks, Jim and
yes.
Adam.
Thank you, everybody.